Hi, my name is Katie Bitner. I'm not in a position to teach my Understanding by Design unit right now, so I'm making a video of how I would teach it. The unit that I'm doing is on migration. The unit is designed for a world geography class, which is usually grades 9 or 10. And the goals for the unit are that the student will analyze past and present trends in human migration, cultural interaction, as they are influenced by social, economic, political, and environmental factors. This particular goal is a Virginia state goal, but you can find something like that in most world geography classes. So really quickly, before I talk about how I'm going to teach it, I just want to go through the expectations of what they're going to learn and what they're going to do. The understandings that they'll get is that migrations occur because of social, economic, political, and environmental factors. Migrations that influence cultural landscapes and modern transportation and communication encourage higher levels of cultural interaction worldwide. The essential questions that they will be asked to consider are: to what degree do the reasons for migration predict success in the new location? How have social, economic, political, and environmental factors influenced migration? How has migration influenced cultural landscapes? How have modern technologies affected communication and cultural interaction? And how and why do improvements in transportation and communication technology lead to cultural interaction? The things that I expect them to know, I'm really going to focus on the push and pull factors in migration. So the push factors: overpopulation, persecution, religious persecution, lack of job opportunities, agricultural decline, conflict, political persecution, natural hazards, limits on personal freedom, and environmental degradation. The pull factors: religion, economic opportunity, land availability, political freedom, ethnic or family ties, and the cultural landscape. And then we're also going to look for evidence of cultural interaction, which is the diffusion of U.S. culture to other regions or the popularization of other cultural traditions in the United States. The things that I expect the students to be able to do are to identify and interpret regional patterns on maps, draw conclusions and make inferences about data, explain cause and effect relationships, interpret charts and graphs, and analyze data to determine patterns. The assessments that I'll perform: the key assessment is the performance task, which is going to be a cultural heritage project, which I will explain a little bit later. We'll also have a quiz on vocabulary, the factors, and the chart and map reading. They'll have an assignment to investigate their own family history, and we'll use a website called Ancestry.com, where you can do searches for your own ancestors and find out how and when and why they came to the United States or wherever it is you might be living. We're going to have daily journal entries, which is something I feel really strongly about, and I'll talk about a little bit later. And there's going to be some group classwork where they're going to do a lot of map and chart readings to analyze the characteristics of countries with high inflow and outflow of immigrants or high immigrant populations. And then finally, we're going to do a reading with a discussion. The reading will come from Time Magazine. It's an article called "Your Life is Fully Mobile." It's a really cool article, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the Teach It section. They're also going to have opportunities for self-assessment and reflection. The concluding journal entry will be: how has this unit changed my perspective on migration and immigrants? And they'll also have a self-assessment of the heritage display task, which is, did I do my best work? Did I work well with my group? Does my poster convey the message I wanted it to convey? What did I learn? And what did I already know that helped me? So the performance task: this is a community heritage project. What's going to happen is that the students are going to be asked to track one migration story, whether of an ethnic group in the community or their own family's migration story, and then to highlight that group's contributions to our current community. We're going to show off the displays at the library, where they host a local heritage month every year, and the class will have a chance to put their stuff up where other people will see it, so hopefully it'll encourage them to really do their best work. The audience will be anybody that visits the library, and hopefully they'll end up taking their own families there, and it's a plus for the whole community. The situation is that the library wants vibrant displays to show off their ethnic groups and how they contribute to the community, and so we're going to get to do that. And they're going to create a poster. I'm going to give them a lot of flexibility in what they want to do, but it just has to be able to go up on the wall because there isn't enough like countertop space to put 3D projects. And the standards for success are, well, there's a rubric here on the next page. So the requirements are they're going to have 7 questions that they have to answer for the task, and each night during the unit, the 1 or 2 of the questions are going to be homework. So when did the group migrate? From where to where did they migrate, and how did they travel? What were the characteristics of the people? Why did the group migrate? And were they part of an identified wave of migration? Was it forced or voluntary? Did the group face difficulties when adjusting? What were the difficulties and how did they resolve them? Also, what are some of the parts of their culture that they brought with them? And what contributions are members of this group making to our community today? This is going to be an opportunity to include photos, brochures, menus, whatever, something for businesses or individuals. So then they're going to have a rubric on the performance task. They'll be graded on 4 categories. Did I answer all the questions? Was my information accurate, appropriate, and relevant? If working with a group, did I work well with my group? If working alone, did I do my best work? And did we accomplish our tasks in the time frame given? The quality, was the poster attractive, creative, easy to understand, spelling and grammar accurate? And then results, did I approach my subject matter with sensitivity and maturity? Which can be a little bit of an issue with this particular age group. So now I'm going to move into how I would, teach it like day by day. So one of the advice that someone gave me early on in my teaching career was that the students should have something to do the second they walk in the door. And then I've also learned that if students have a way to connect to what we're learning, that they seem to be more motivated and interested in what we're learning. So I'd like to start my class with a daily journal entry. It's always written up on the board. They come in, they have 5 minutes from when the bell rings to stop it, but they can start before that, so then the kids come in and have something immediately to do. So the first question is, if you could move anywhere now or after you graduate from high school or college, where would you go and why? They'll have a few minutes to respond to that in their journals, and then they'll have a class discussion so that we can generate a list of why people move to new places. The reason I like journals, it gives them something to do the minute they walk in the door, helps me to assess their background knowledge, it also helps identify possible misconceptions, and it hooks and engages the students. So after we've finished the class discussion, I'll present to them the key vocabulary and the push-pull factor content that we went over a little bit earlier. And then we'll sort the list from the class discussion into push and pull factors so they get an idea of what it is that we're looking for. I'll also explain what the Community Heritage Project is going to be and the rubric for grading it. So they'll have it from the very beginning, what they need to get done for it. I'll also introduce to them the essential questions that I read before. Generally speaking, I'd have students work individually on the Heritage Project because a lot of it will be homework, but I frequently have brand new ELLs in my classroom and sometimes special needs kids. And so I know some of them would benefit more having a partner to work with. So then I'm also going to introduce to them Ancestry.com and show them on a smartboard presentation how Ancestry.com works, what kind of things we can look for. Ideally, I'll have someone from the community come in and help us on the days that we're working on Ancestry.com. I know a lot of the Mormon churches around have people that are trained to do this kind of stuff, and they're always happy to have someone come in and show how to use the information. And then the homework for that night will be to ask their parents or grandparents about their own ancestry. Do you know where your relatives came from? Why did they come? And also to get a list of names and hopefully dates and locations for our Ancestry.com search, because it's a lot easier if we have somewhere to start, somebody that's already dead usually, because living people often don't show up in Ancestry.com. So then we go to day 2. We'll start with another journal entry, and this is one that I really like. Some people say we should make it easier for well-educated people to move to America. Others say those with family members already here should be given preference. Who do you think should be allowed to immigrate to America? I don't want to touch too hard on illegal immigrant issues because we do have some of that going on in the classroom. So We're going to try and stick with legal immigration for now and deal with, undocumented workers at another time. I imagine it'll come up though. Anyway, then the class discussion will include the stuff from the journal entry, as well as what people are reporting back from their homework assignment, and we'll make a class map that shows where we're from. And National Geographic Expeditions is a great site to get maps that you can create, whether you want to create it on the computer or print it out and have a map to look at. So then we're going to start a group learning activity. In this activity, we'll do map and chart reading, tracking migration to America. What were some of the big waves? Was your family part of one of these waves? If you're not teaching at an American school, if you're in an international school, there's definitely places to look at where people are immigrating to and from currently instead of specifically America. For instance, I'm in Israel right now, and almost everybody's immigrants here too, and so it's easy to still follow who came when and why. And very interesting. So here's a whole bunch of resources for where you can get information for these group learning activities. The Genographic Project, the United Nations migration documents, Scholastic has a great set, and then this migrations map is really cool. It's got like, you can create your own migration stuff, and then this migration policy one where you can click on different countries and it'll show who's immigrating there and why. Here's in day 2, we're going to continue doing a group project, but with the map reading, but I'm going to let groups go in small sections to the computers to work on Ancestry.com. And like I said, I hope I can get someone from the neighborhood, from the community to help with the Ancestry.com thing, but the kids are big enough they can do a lot of it on their own now too. The homework for that day will be to choose one ethnic group or their own family to research for the Heritage Project, and then to answer these questions that were I talked about before, so I'm going to just skip on to the next thing. So then in day 3, we're going to have another journal entry. To what degree do the reasons for migration affect a person or group's success in their new home? There was recently an article about this by Amy Chua. She wrote a book. Amy Chua wrote a book about it, and then Time Magazine responded to it. So there's some reading stuff we could do with that too. And then they'll have a group learning activity again. Who's migrating today? Identifying the top places people are coming from, going to. And you can use the same resources from that other page to get good maps and like current maps and charts. It's not that fun to research really old ones. Then we'll have a class discussion about that and what they've learned. And then their homework for that day will be to answer the next 2 questions for the Community Heritage Research Project. Day 4 will be a reading day. We're going to read a wireless issue from Time Magazine. It's called Your Life is Completely Mobile. First, the kids will have their daily journal where they'll talk about how they use their mobile devices and whether mobile devices are making us more or less connected than previously. And then we'll read this article, and it's fantastic about how people around the world are using their devices and how America uses it compared to other people and how it's connecting some people and making others feel more isolated. It's a fantastic article. Their homework that day will be the final question of the Heritage Research Project. What contributions are members of this group making to your community? And so I'll send the kids out to look for restaurants, grocery stores, music groups, whatever, that are participating in our community. Then on day 5, we're going to do the final journal entry, which is how has this unit changed my perspective on migration and immigrants. And then they'll do the quiz on the push and pull factors, and as soon as they're done with the quiz, they can go work independently on their heritage display. They will have brought in poster board that day to start working. If they're working with a partner, I'll ask them to move to a quieter corner of the room to let the others finish their quizzes, because some kids just need more time than others. And then finally on day 6, the students will present their heritage displays and perform a self-assessment, a reflection of what they've learned. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the unit.